The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 874. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. You can now purchase The Tao of Self-Confidence, a guide to moving beyond trauma and awakening the leader within on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's, Walmart, Indigo, and other major book retailers. Get your copy today. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to The Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have an amazing woman on the show today. She is the president and CEO of Trilyon Inc., Top 50 Women Leaders of San Francisco in 2023. She's also the Enterprising Women of the Year Award 2023, the board member of the USPAACC West, and also the co-chair of USPAACC WISE, which is the Women Initiative for Strategic Empowerment. And I'm super excited to have her on today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Carolyn Joshua. Carolyn, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hi, Sheena. So nice to meet with you. I'm excited to be on your podcast and actually have been following your incredible journey as well. So excited to have a conversation today. So a little brief about myself. I'm the president and CEO of Trilyon Inc., which is a workforce solutions provider on a global scale. And this is actually our 15th year in business. So additionally, I'm the co-chair of the WISE program by USPAACC, which focuses on empowering women to be efficient and effective leaders. I also have the privilege of being a limited partner with How Women Lead, and I'm a very avid advocate for the Get On Board program, which actually focuses on women achieving parity with men in corporate boardrooms. So that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome. Well, first off, congrats. 15 years. That's amazing. I know not many people who own their own business or start their own journeys. Some of them, don't even make it to the second year. And I know being your own boss, takes a lot of work. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of setbacks and trials and tribulation, but there's also a lot of things to celebrate, to be happy about, to build confidence. And, that's all part of effective leadership, right? Learning to push through all those things. So I just wanted to say congrats. And Carolyn, what's your cultural background?
So I actually grew up in Bangalore in India. I grew up as an only child, so pretty protected in a very supportive and loving household. My parents were not the typical Asian parents that you would think of. So they always encouraged me to pursue my own dreams, and they gave me the freedom to choose whatever I wanted to do. When everybody else was doing engineering and medicine, they said I should actually do something that I would love to do for the rest of my life. Also, they never were afraid of letting me fail. And actually, a funny story is that I actually went to the wrong examination hall in one of my board exams, and my dad, when I came back home, he said, "That's fine because you learned something new." So, they were never the typical Asian parents. So they let me do things my way, my pace. And several years later, as an adult, looking back, I realize now that those experiences were actually the building blocks of my self-confidence, and actually which helped me start my company at a very young age, which is the number one question I get. How did you decide to start it so young? So I think that's the answer.
I love that. And I know as Asian parents, especially being, the only girl, I know in India, there's so many things that still happens today for little girls and for women, such as child marriages, human trafficking, or even if you're a widow, it's considered like an outcast to society. And your parents encouraged you to, beat to the tune of your own drum. I hope I said that right. But, color outside the lines, forge your own path, which led you to entrepreneurship and being able to be in business for 15 years. So they basically, pushed you off a cliff and said, figure it out. And that's a great way, because sometimes our parents are very protective, right? And especially Asian parents, they just want to protect you from everything, which is done out of love, of course. I understand that. But sometimes that actually stops us from moving forward. And in our adulthood, we tend to struggle, make, second guesses about ourselves, can't make a decision, overthink, resist. So I really love that your parents did that for you, because it really helped you in the long run. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Yes. And before that, I just wanted to add, Sheena, since I grew up in that environment where my parents believed in me, let me do whatever I wanted to do, I was always told that it would change when I got married. So when I came to the United States and I got married, I always thought that life is going to be different based on what I've seen in the Asian culture. But I'm very fortunate to have a husband who believes exactly in the same values. And he, always encouraged me to pursue my dreams without any gender bias or gender roles. And I think that is probably the reason behind my success. And he's actually my best friend. I just wanted to add that. And coming back to my favorite quote, so this one, I have many, but this one really stood out. The most beautiful thing you can wear is confidence, by Blake Lively. And I somehow loved it because we all strive for beautiful things in life, but the most beautiful thing actually is your confidence.
I love that quote because it's that confidence that really brings out the inner beauty that you have, right? The authentic beauty, the rawness, showing you like, here's a woman who's been through so much, who's been able to break barriers, break glass ceilings, show others what's possible. And that confidence will go beyond just clothes, right? So I love that quote that you mentioned. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
Self-confidence means actually staying true to yourself, understanding your own strengths and also your vulnerabilities, because all of us have our own weaknesses. And it's about lending a hand to others when they actually most need it. And also not being afraid to or hesitate to seek help when we need it. And that's exactly what we're doing with WISE, helping each other grow, empowering each other to be their authentic self while being vulnerable at the same time. So I would say for me, being true to yourself is my definition.
I love that. And that's a great definition. And it's important to have that support, right? Having support like WISE who can be there for each other. And, sometimes we've been told that our vulnerabilities are weakness when it's actually our greatest strength. So I'm glad you were able to mention that. And Carolyn, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
When I started my company 15 plus years back, I always had a strong belief in my abilities to succeed, but all of us face challenges, and mine were some of the very common ones, mainly because of unconscious bias. And I would say the biggest challenge that I had was that I was young. I was a woman and I actually look younger than my actual age. And I don't know if that has ever been a good thing for me. But so it seemed like a lot of people, when I would go to present my company and in sales meetings, they never took me seriously. They would always have this doubt in my capability in achieving the projects because they thought I didn't have enough experience, like in the number of years. Right. So for several years, I felt like I was hiding in my own shadows in the background. And I actually never told clients that I was the CEO of the company. So I was very afraid and I would always avoid that question. So I think that for me was very real for the first 10 years.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think a lot of women feel that way, especially, as Asian women, we do tend to look a little bit younger than our actual age. And because of that, I mean, it's good and bad. It's good to look younger, but at the same time, you're not taken seriously because they think, oh, you're still a child, or they might think you're the secretary or the assistant, not realizing you're the CEO. And it's funny because there's a lot of women CEOs out there who have gone through the same thing there, where they mentioned that they didn't even say they were the CEO, even though they were like behind the mastermind behind the whole business. And what was that point in your life when you realized that, you were more than enough? You can go out there with confidence, telling people, hey, I'm the CEO. I'm the one who built this company from the ground up. What was that confidence aha moment for you?
Sheena, I was very fortunate to have met an incredible woman. Her name is Joanne LaSalle Ramsey, and she was the CEO of a very successful company, and she had been in business for, I think, 30 plus years. So when I met her and I was in the first few years of my journey, that was the first thing she pointed out, because she looked at my LinkedIn and she said, why doesn't it say you're the CEO? And I told her my whole inhibition. So that was the first thing. She made me believe, and gave me the strength to say it's okay to be yourself, and you don't have to hesitate, and be confident to say you're the leader of the company, and it shouldn't matter what other people think about you. And I think that was my aha moment. And since then, I have been able to very confidently say and proudly say that I'm the president and CEO. So I think for me, that was an eye opener, and actually meeting other women. So I think that coming back to why I'm so passionate about WISE and what I do with other organizations is because of that, because women have helped me in my journey.
Thanks for sharing that great story. And it's so true. Sometimes we need one woman to just believe in us, to show us what's possible. And then it gives us the courage to go out there and say with confidence that you're the CEO, you're an entrepreneur, you're forging your own path, and you're transferring that same energy to future women who also want to be a CEO, who are facing a similar situation that you may have faced. You know, maybe some of them are still afraid to say they're the CEO, but then after hearing your story, they're like, today's the day. I'm just going to say it and just let it go. So I love that. And because of that aha moment, what's your life been like now?
It's been great. I feel so much more confident. I feel it's just been a relief to be yourself and to not care about what people think about you. And it's been wonderful. And I think it has opened up my perspective of life. And I actually value a lot of young women that I see out there. In fact, the moderator that we chose for our WISE program is a very young lady. And when I met her, I reminded myself of how I was 10 years back. So I always give that benefit to every woman that I see.
I love that. And I love that, I'm also part of the WISE cohort. It's been such an honor to be part of it, to be surrounded by amazing women who have similar visions. And as women, collaboration is key. Collaboration is so important to work towards a similar goal, to create a bigger impact, to create a positive impact, because we've been conditioned to do everything ourselves, and that's exhausting, especially if you have kids, husbands, errands, other family members. It can take a toll on us. So that's why collaboration is key. Asking for help and support is necessary, and I'm just excited for what's to come with the WISE program. And Carolyn, if our listeners were tuning into your episode and they're in a similar journey to self-confidence, what would be that one tip you would give to them?
I would say be your authentic self. Self-confidence is the best outfit. So rock it and own it. That's what I would say. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Julie Castro, who's the CEO of How Women Lead. And I always have been very inspired by her journey and her credos. So she has 4 credos that they follow. It's be fierce advocates for each other, say yes to helping each other, be unabashedly visible, and reinforce her voice. So those are the 4, and I really love her credo. So I would say my advice would be to every young woman out there, or any women out there, to be your authentic self and be self-confident, because that's what makes you most beautiful.
Thanks for sharing that great tip that you mentioned, or tips that you mentioned. And if our listeners wanted to connect with you or get to know a little bit more about you, or check out, out what the WISE program is about, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yes, absolutely, Sheena. So they can find me on LinkedIn, as well as my company LinkedIn, as well as the USPAACC WISE program LinkedIn. So there are several ways they can reach me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Carolyn, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Carolyn's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I just really want to thank Carolyn today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Carolyn.
Thank you for having me, Sheena. And it's a pleasure to know you as well.
It's such an honor to have you today. So thank you so much again. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. You can order your copy of Asian Women Who Boss Up book by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.